What's this? Sylph? I told you to go make my new intro already. Look, I know I just recently hired you, but you can't just keep on stealing other users' intros. Look, Logan makes 2 intros per week. I don't care if it's his old one. Now go and get me the other intro. I don't care about your imaginary boyfriend, just do it! Oh wow, I'm getting the sense of deja vu here. Well, if any of you have seen my shit top 10 already, you should see that I've definitely come a very long way. Yep, what was originally number 9 has been dumped down to number 30. But I got a lot of unfinished business here. So in battle, it's probably just as fast as JonTron uploads his videos. Oh. But honestly, it doesn't need to be quick. This way, you don't even need to worry about a thing when distributing EVs, and the defensive and attacking stats can be placed exactly where they matter. This makes Slowking a great water type in a variety of fields, whether it be for Thunder Waves and Trick Rooms to reverse his disadvantage, access to an instant recovery move, Regenerator, as well as Dragon Tail to ward off setups, Trick in order to play with your opponent's items, and a large variety of special moves such as Shadow Ball, Ice Beam, and even Fire Blast makes it the most out of its psychic typing. So Slowking is the evolutionary stage of the derpy, but very silly Slowpoke. How this happens is a Shelter bites its own head and it turns into a genius! Its intelligence passes that of Albert Einstein. You got nothing on this Alakazam. Wait, 5,000 IQ and remembers everything from birth? Well, you can only remember 4 moves, so I call bull. Anyway, back to Slowking. Design-wise also appeals to me, and you should already know this, but pink. Just pink. It also has that regal look, which I come to take a liking to, and that collar makes it look like it has some sort of medieval reference. So, very diverse Pokemon, and definitely something that appeals to me, and I will probably always have a soft spot for Slowking. Alright, another Pokemon I have some unfinished business with. It shames me to put you so low. So, Lapras. A Pokemon loved by many, and it's not too hard to understand why. Having significant roles in both the anime and in the manga. Just what to talk about? I don't have much experience with either of these, so I'll just stick to what I know. Lapras, just like Slowking, has quite a variety of defensive moves, and has Dragon Dance just in case you want something like that. And it also has access to its Dream World ability, Hydration, which gives it more options to recover itself. This, in combination with a number of moves to fight back with, makes it a surprisingly versatile water Pokemon. Not only that, these are immensely easy to find in both Gen 1 and in Gen 2, making me almost always get one. Okay, I want a Lapras to fight those 3 Dragonites. I wonder where you... There you are! Another reason why I love Lapras so much is just the basic concept that's just oddly effective. You know Tessie from Earthbound and the first time you got to go on its back? Yeah, it's kind of like that, except I pretty much have my own living boat. It just oddly makes it feel magical in a sense. Like I'm living a fantasy. But there's really a lot of fields you could talk about with this one Pokemon, and it's definitely easy to see how it gets a lot of respect on many different levels. Great design, simple and effective concept, and easily accessible to all. Next, we have the incredibly OP and creepy Pokemon from 2nd Gen, Unknown. Its move pool is incredibly diverse. It can literally run any hidden power. This gives Unknown many options in combat, such as using hidden power. And it can outspeed anything that's not burdened by a truck. I guess you could say why it's not on anyone's favorite Pokemon list is Unknown! I'm just kidding, Volcarona is number 28. Hail the mighty Volcarona from Gen 5, beautiful in its design, running a base special stat of 135. And if the sun is up, prepare for a fiery tombstone that show your Pokemon's grave. One quiver dance and none will outspeed it. Not even its huge rock type weakness will give it problems cause it would outspeed it. And kill it. Faint it. I would talk about its capabilities on a more serious level, but I wasn't exaggerating that much. Might take off half its HP from stealth rocks, but who cares, it only needs one setup. But where it wins it for me is just the genius of its concept and its design. I say, it's Game Freak's way of apologizing for all the mediocre and poorly made moths of Pokemon, and I also say, apology accepted. Volcarona resembles a large moth with 6 beautiful wings just begging to start dancing around. Its origin is quite possibly related to the phrase, like moths to a flame. However, its Pokédex entry suggests that it's essentially a solar deity that was reincarnated into an Atlas moth. Just damn. Underwhelming segments, but this Pokemon just speaks for itself. Just later gens, take some notes. And here it comes. Oh, I'm going to get killed for this. My favorite Gen 1 Pokemon and the last one you're going to see on the list. Crap. Well, trust me, I have a lot of Gen 1 Pokemon I like. They just didn't make it on the list. So anyway, Ninetails. If you know anything about competitive meta, anything at all, you would know that Ninetails is on every frickin' Sun team. That's OU. Other than having Drought, it's a fire type with both defensive and offensive properties, such as being able to learn common moves from fire types such as Fire Blast and Solar Beam, as well as having Nasty Plot to back it up. It also has some pretty intriguing defensive moves such as Confuse Ray, Hypnosis, and even an amount of Ghost and Dark type moves, which also blend in well with its concept. Ninetails probably takes references off of Kitsune Legends, and how it's executed around the franchise is kind of astounding. Ninetails are typically highly intelligent and are able to communicate with other human beings. There is one legend that stated that Ninetails was born when 9 saints were united and reincarnated as a Pokemon. Getting that feeling of deja vu already? But one of my favorites was within the first installment of the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon series. Within the game, you hear about a story of the Ninetails who cursed a selfish human who touched one of its tails. A Pokemon protected its trainer, and instead the human cowered in fear, and the Ninetails made a prediction that the human would later turn into a Pokemon, bringing on many natural disasters. Due to how the main character couldn't recall what happened, he was blamed for the disasters that were occurring. Now, despite that we might view this as a very obvious plot element, it was how it was presented that made you feel emotions that are difficult to describe. It's very powerful, and maybe even to the point of life-changing in a way. So, very fascinating Pokemon, and it definitely deserves my acknowledgement. And here comes the female counterpart of the Eon duo, Latias. And I pretty much find fighting over these two as stupid as whether you prefer Coke or Pepsi. So though I'm mainly highlighting Latias, in this part, assume I'm talking about both because they're generally the same. Both I have seen work very well in battling with either basic hit and run strategies or potential setups for sweeps. They both have some pretty reliable moves along with Recover and Calm Mind. But this is not the huge highlight for me. What I love about Latias was its concept and how it was represented, mainly through the movie. Latias is supposed to act as a sister representative of these two siblings, and in a sense, gives another version of yin and yang. How Latias is portrayed is in a sort of free-spirited nature. Latias would be the one that's curious and interested in making friends outside its own species, in a kind of naive sort of way, as we are familiar with the Latias who had an innocent crush on Ash. But what really got me to practically adore this thing was the ability Sight Sharing. The ability that projected what her brother was seeing. It's not something that I've seen executed in fiction before, and it was delivered well. It wasn't so much, this is what I see, but this is how I feel. Excitement, fear, sadness. All emotions I found project from this one Pokemon. And when Latios died and Latias shared the sight of Latios showing his approach into the next life, it just brought along a lot of emotion that I wouldn't get anywhere else. This is empathy, a tough emotion for fictional writing to portray. And without Latias to share this vision, I really don't think it would have been so beautiful. And that's why it's so high, just the execution of this concept alone. I love its innocent personality and the mere sympathy you can easily show for it. Aw, how cute. Another normal type death fodder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5! Broken! I'm sorry, am I the only one who got tired of seeing mediocre and inaccessible Pokemon from something as common and overused as normal type? Just thank you, Game Freak. A Pokemon I can get loads of fun using, and something that's easy to get for a change. Santino is a normal type, which I feel actually does what a normal type should do. A large amount of moves with unpredictable sets. The options are just immense, being able to use a number of utility moves effectively with Technician, such as Wake Up Slap and Gavent. And you can also have the ability Skill Link, which makes you throw a lot of rocks. Or you could have a little bit of both. Santino is a chinchilla mouse, and its scarf kind of reminds me that of a standard runway model. It's highly likely that it takes references off of high-class fashion from the 16th century, since trading chinchilla fur goes back to this time and chinchilla is known to be quite rare now. It can also repel any stain from its fur, allowing it to retain its class. My god, it's wearing its own fur, but it's so cute! So what else can I say? It's adorable, it's strong, and it's got a very interesting cultural link. Definitely one of the cutest Pokemon on the roster in my eyes. I guess you can say you may have predicted this entry. Yeah, Absol battle capability wise is simply outclassed by Bisharp, having a completely duplicated move pool for everything that would be helpful in a competitive situation. Why do I like Absol more? Because it can shoot fireballs. Pew 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 pew! It also has gotten me out of a lot of nasty situations with Sucker Punch and a variety of its moves that I'm more attached to. Mainly because it was the first like this. But the bigger reason is due to both concept and design wise. Absol is the disaster Pokemon that which, whenever it appears, a catastrophe would soon follow. It comes to forewarn of such instances, but is often mistaken for such disasters to follow it. And when you take a look at its move pool, it just makes so much sense. Its anatomical structure is that of a mountain cat, but due to its human-like face, it most likely takes Sphinx references, which connecting to Egyptian culture is always a plus for me. And that sickle on its forehead gives it that really devious look. And I just love the name, Absol. Nothing more I can say. Great concept, great design, and very enjoyable to use. And as soon as I saw Mega Absol, I was like, sold! Alright, what's with all the hatred towards Emboar? Its low speed? I ran a Brave Emboar in Pokemon Black 2, outsped nearly every NPC with one flame charge. Its low defense? My first Emboar was naughty, level 50, and it survives Chantel's Chandelure just fine. Honestly don't know what to put here, so instead, I'm giving a mini top 5 of reasons why you shouldn't hate Emboar. Number 5. Infernape was a firefighting type and you loved it just fine. Number 4. It's the only fire type Pokemon that can learn a water type move. How is that not awesome? Number 3. Number 2. Its design is awesome. You may not see it because it's new, but if this thing was in Gen 3, we would go on about how it reminded us all of Ganon from Zelda with a Chuck Norris fire beard. Oh yeah, that's cool. And most important, number 1. It's fun to use. I remember a time where we didn't worry about statistics or how good a Pokemon was because they're duplicates. If you're having fun using your Pokemon, why should any of this senseless nitpicking even matter? It's a fire starter with the most diverse move pool that it can actually use, and is the reason why it has lasting appeal to me other than just nostalgia to hold it up. Can Blaziken use Roll Out and Good Seeing with your other Pokemon? Oh wait, no, because the only thing you're going to use it for in Emerald is Blaze Kick. I know it's not the best statistically, and it requires me to think a little bit. But that's why I love it so much. It's different from the other fire starters, and it was also presented very well too. When I first saw Flame Charge in the anime, I was like, charging pigs? Genius! It also has its signature move Heat Crash, where it cloaks itself in fire and slams its foes to the ground. That is awesome. And I love Ash's Tepig. I love seeing its burning determination within its heart and soul as it grew more confident, making it a very strong Pokemon in terms of heart. That's why I love it so much. Alright, I know it's a Pokemon not meant for everyone, but don't tell me it's a bad Pokemon when you know it isn't. And for those worried about Fennekin in Gen 6, allow me to state something. Both Infernape and Emboar were based off of Journey of the West. Emboar was supposed to be Infernape's fat and lazy counterpart, which is another cool reference and is even somewhat silly. But the point is, there are no foxes. Alright, we've had poorly made bug types, mediocre, inaccessible normal types, and now we have a Curvine Pokemon that looks like a pug dog with antlers attached to it. Game Freak, I want you to fix up this mess of wasted potential for a roster and... Oh, why, thank you. So Salzburg is definitely a Pokemon that can work on many levels, mainly as a physical attacker with its signature move called Horn Leech, which is basically a physical Giga Drain. Anything else to add to that? Well, it learns Jump Kick, which is admittedly really cool, but I like the moves that you'll rarely use that just fits its concept. Salzburg is a Pokemon that is supposed to fit in with its surroundings as we get moves such as Camouflage and Nature's Power, and its antlers represent trees as they would appear from the coming of the seasons. And another interesting feature of its design is that as the seasons get cooler, it grows more fur to adapt to such surroundings, as seen on the chest and near the hooves. But what I really like about it is what it did in the anime, which is admittedly one of my favorite episodes in the entire series. In the episode, 4 Seasons of the Salzburg, we start off with one of the cutest scenes in Pokemon history until we are greeted with a character called Robert, who basically looks like the deformed brother of that one person who promotes animal abuse. Robert was looking for a gathering place where all forms of the Salzburg would meet in order to fulfill his grandfather's legacy, and have an experience similar to his. During his search, he saw potential danger to a deerling, which he would immediately push the deerling out of the way, taking in the poison. Out of antidotes, Ash and Robert were basically forced to get off the mountain, but then the same deerling Robert saved showed up in the fog with a Salzburg. For the help, they led them to a spring where Robert was healed, and it was the same gathering point of the 4 Salzburg. Robert got to realize his dream and saw the Salzburg. I felt it was really well done, showing a moral of courtesy and how it was rewarded, and showing how we could have an experience that only an individual can express. I guess wishes really do come true. Speaking of which... So over the list, I've stated Pokemon that have a lot of symbolism, and also Pokemon that have left a lot of life-changing elements to think about. This entry is a little special. A concept I felt executed so beautifully, and certainly deserves a spot this high on the list. You guys know it.
When daytime turns to night, when the moon shines bright, when you're tucked in tight, when everything's alright.
Do I even need to explain the battle capabilities? If you were ever pitted against a Jirachi, you would hate it, even more than this thing. However, Jirachi does carry a lot of support-based moves, which will help you a lot in any sort of casual play. But that's not really the main highlight. Jirachi just has an amazing concept that was quite possibly delivered in one of the most beautiful ways I've ever seen. Jirachi is the wish Pokemon, and its design is based off of that of a wishing star, as we see the streamers representing the tail of a comet, the metallic head in the shape of a star, and its 3 tags most likely symbolizing the standard 3 wishes norm. The concept of a wishing star has been shown in both Mystery Dungeon and the movie. It was represented in a way where it wasn't so much it grants wishes, but the mere journey of finding it and accomplishing daring goals made your wish come true. It's saying that you are the true wishmaker. Wishes aren't granted by some superstitious life form, but all those wishes you made as a kid, those are a part of our creativity to make goals in life. And as long as you hold that star in your sight and work hard every day to get closer, your wishes really can come true. That's why I love Jirachi. Just simply the thought of this message allowing me to keep that heart of a child and keep me going in life. You don't need a shooting star. Just close your eyes, believe, and make a wish.